Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
We want to welcome you to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. And we want to thank you once again for joining us and keeping up with us as we continue to educate and to promote the National Federation of the Blind and one of the services of the National Federation of the Blind, NFB Newsline. We continue to bring you guests that bring pertinent information. And today we have such a guest all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, Miss Cheryl Fields. Florence is the co-host of the show. And Florence, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well today, Lee. And Miss Cheryl Fields from Ohio. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great today.
Thank you for being our guest. Okay.
And you
Thank
don't
you
have
for
to
having me.
you don't have to be nervous. We're gonna just move right on through this. You know, it's so I'll tell you, it's so interesting to share with our listening audience you, and it's going to be a very interesting show. So let's talk about the National Federation of the Blind Newsline. Florence, you want to lead us into that?
Now, I prefer using the NFB Newsline app to access my free audio information service. And a lot of people use the Alexa, the digital player from the Talking Book and Braille Library, Victor Reader Stream, their landline phone. Some people use Android, digital player from the Talking Book and Braille Library. All these are tools that we use to access this free audio information service. And what I really, really like about this service is that it is accessible to me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it is a great tool to have me.
And Ms. Fields, I know that you use the service often, and you want to tell us, why you use the service and how does it inspire you in your daily life?
Sure, Lee. Yes, I use Newsline probably every day. I love the breaking news feature, and I'm usually using it on my iPhone through mobile app. And the other thing I like to read a lot of magazines, but my favorite thing is on Sundays. I love to read the Sunday New York Times. Um, so yes, I use Newsline a lot, and I have tried it on my Amazon device, and it works well. It works well, especially when I'm trying to multitask.
Yes, and I tell you, that is a great device, and I have it right here. Most of our viewers can see it, and I will give you a brief example of how it works. So I'll give a brief example here, and with that, I'll say her commands, because it's verbal commands, and it goes like this: Alexa, open National Federation.
Welcome to NFB Newsline. Hello, Lee Martin. What would you like to do?
Alexa, read the New York Times.
Reading in New York Times dated July 14th, 2021. In the Business Financial Desk section of the New York Times. There are 13 articles in this section. Article 1. Amazon sway a Pentagon question by lawmaker. By Kenneth P. Vogel and Kay Conger.
So it took me straight to the first article in the New York Times. And if I wanted to go to the next article, I didn't want to listen to that, I could simply say, Alexa, ask National Federation to skip to the next article.
Article 2, Behind Lordstown Mess A Wall Street Deal Make by Matthew Goldstein and Emily Flitter. The clock was ticking for David Hamamoto.
Or I can say,
It was
Alexa,
June 20.
skip.
And Mr. Hamamoto, a former Goldman Sachs executive who invested in real estate, was
Alexa,
searching for
skip.
Article 3.
So as you
China's
see, it'll
export
skip
performance
from
for
article
prices,
to article,
demand and delays
and also
in
from
factory
section to section.
by Keith
And I can
Brasher.
also go to other
Officials said the
publications,
country's
such
exports
as
rose 32.2%.
Alexa, ask National Federation to read the Indianapolis Star.
Reading an Indianapolis Star dated July 14th, 2021.
Or I can say to another
Star.
publication,
There are 9
Alexa,
articles.
ask National Federation to read the Washington Post.
Reading in Washington Post dated July 14th, 2021. In the editorial section of the Washington Post, there are 15 articles in this section. Article 1, a reality check for Merkel's American fans.
Now, if I wanted to save that article to my inbox or any article that I like, I can give it a command. Alexa, ask National Federation to email me this article.
You should receive your email for this article shortly, which is at sbcglobal.net.
Her record on marriage.
So there is a small example of what you can utilize the Amazon Alexa device for with the NFB Newsline. And you can follow the prompts during our commercials and contact us to become a subscriber to this free audio information service. So we're going to take a short pause and we're going to come back with our guest today, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, Miss Cheryl.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I am a CFP practitioner, and I happen to be blind. I rely on NFB Newsline to keep me current with Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org. If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free. Thousands of Indiana residents feel isolated from the world due to vision problems. Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm blind. I read Stars and Stripes on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline. We want to welcome you back to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show, where we have our guest, Miss Cheryl Fields, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. And Florence, you want to lead us in with questions about Miss Cheryl.
Will, Lee. And Miss Cheryl, again, welcome to our show today. And if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Cheryl.
I am 64 years old, and I've been blind since I was 27. I think that number is right. It's been so long. I may be off by a year or two. And initially, when I lost my vision, I was working for Ohio Bell, which is now, of course, AT&T. And I was on a track into management representative, and then I had the vision loss, and which is kind of ironic because it has led me to the National Federation of the Blind and into onto a committee um, that we just wound up, 7 months of work at the so I can talk about that if you wish. However, we'll need to provide a content warning. Would you like for me to do that, or?
Well, we do have a content warning regarding domestic violence. So we don't want to arouse anyone's at this point in time, but we do have that content warning right there. So, Ms. Fields, you can go ahead and feel free to talk about being a survivor. But before you, just talk about how that all came about.
So at 27 years old, and I had lost my sight. And it is possible it could have been due to the domestic violence at that time. The doctors, they were not sure, and I never told them um, that I was a victim of domestic violence. I was living in that silence. So they were never conclusive about how I lost my vision, other than I was probably under a lot of stress. And so I just want to say here is that for those of you that are living that way, and if you go to your physician, you can trust your doctor and you should not keep that to yourself. So I realized quickly that my marriage was not going to work, that it was quite possible that it was going to cost me my life. And so at that point, we divorced. It was a very contentious divorce. Um, the violence continued for several years after the divorce. And each time I prosecuted him. I never prosecuted him while we were married. So those were kind of small victories for me. But I I recovered from that. I am a survivor. And as a matter of fact, I think of myself as thriving. And so after I had my rehab at the Cleveland Sight Center, and that is how I got introduced to the National Federation of the Blind. And so initially, I didn't stay with the organization. My children were small, and they were my main focus. And you can only do so many things in a day. And so later in 1999, I came back to the Federation, and I've been here ever since. And so, as a result of being a survivor of domestic violence, 6 months ago, I was asked to be on a survivors task force for the National Federation of the Blind. And so our work has basically come to an end this month. Actually, during the convention, we gave our recommendations, and the convention was very exciting this year. It was anywhere and everywhere. Uh, One of our little taglines was stronger together. And I quite enjoyed the convention this year.
Now, Miss Fields, if I may ask you, many people are coping with the domestic violence, and as a survivor, you're showing that you can survive and that you can overcome. Now, uh, overcoming and being a newly blind person and raising children, how difficult did you find that to be?
Wow. Um, at the time, I was on automatic. Blindness was basically secondary to me because I needed to protect myself, stay alive, so that I could raise my children. It was important to me to present a positive face to my children, which I found out in latter years. You know, you can fool some people, but you can't fool your children. And but we were a team, and we made it through. So adjusting to my blindness just kind of happened organically. When I went through my rehab training, I was excited and anxious to get it. You know, I needed to feed my children. I needed to know how to balance my checkbook. I needed to know how to safely get to the bus stop and that. And I used to drive, but I always took the bus to work. So I always used public transportation at least 5 days a week here in Cleveland. So I was familiar with the buses, and that was huge for me to be able to move around independently. I have dealt with little small difficulties of blindness as I have aged, and it's always surprising to me when I have what is called a blind moment. You know, where you just know, okay, you're blind, and you may need some assistance with this. So, you know, I'm using all different sorts of tools. I'm really grateful for all of the new technology that we have, and the apps, you know, that we could use to connect with a real person to solve a real problem in the moment. Because I live alone, so I don't have other people in my household that can tell me what color my shoes are if I have them mixed up, or, you know, those kind of things.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to have to take a short break. And when we come back, we got more questions for you. And
Okay.
we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I am a blind vendor, and one of the things that I truly miss is reading Vending Times magazine.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
It is a fantastic service.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
With my failing eyesight, I'm not able to read regular newspapers, and I'm not able to keep up with obituaries.
I've been a homemaker all of my life, but since my vision has failed, I wish I could read my favorite magazines.
Have you heard of the NFB Newsline?
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
Welcome back to this segment of the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana. And Ms. Cheryl, you recalled at the time that you lost your vision that you had small children. Now, I know that right now that we're challenged with parental rights. Now, at any point were you challenged with that concerning your children?
That's a great question, Florence. During that time, my only challenge was from my soon-to-be ex-husband. I had the courts, the magistrate, the judges, attorneys being confident in my ability to parent my children. And I had a very strong support system within my family. I know that a lot of people face those challenges now. The challenge that I faced was after the divorce, constantly going back to court and having my parental rights challenged by my ex-husband. But time and time again, the court said no to him for that.
Well, I tell you what, that takes a strong person and a strong woman with all of that. So what are some of your aspirations right now?
Well, right now I am first and foremost enjoying my grandchildren. They bring me a lot of joy. And I am in the process of writing my first book. Hopefully I will have more to follow, part of a writers group, and I'm a vicious reader, part of a book discussion group. So, and I'm looking forward to next month binge watching Netflix. I haven't done that in a while. And so I'm putting it in my schedule for August.
Okay, and what is the title of your book?
The title of the book right now is Twin Justice. The title may change, not yet, but yeah, I love it. I love the book, love my characters. It is, the central theme is family, and this family had a tragedy where one of the daughters was kidnapped and forced to be in sex trafficking, and how they all get reunited.
Said that the title is subject to change, huh?
Subject to change.
Okay, and you'll keep us up on that.
Change.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to take a short pause and come back with the conclusion of our show with Miss Cheryl Fields. Stay tuned.
I just graduated college as a blind student. How can I independently find job listings?
Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
It is a fantastic service.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
I'm Danny Wayne Beamer, Program Manager of the Elder Blind Program at the Will Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. I introduce the NFB Newsline to seniors in 13 southwestern counties in Indiana. I also utilize the NFB Newsline for my radio station public affairs shows. The NFB Newsline. Experience it today.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
Welcome back to the conclusion of our show. Ms. Cheryl, is there any thoughts that you would like to leave with our viewing and listening audience today?
Yes. I want your viewers and listeners to know that truly we are all stronger together. That I have found out in life we are more alike than we are different. Make sure that no matter what you're going through, that you get a strong support system, whether it be blindness, domestic violence, there's help out there for you. So stronger together.
Well, thank you so very much for joining us today. I tell you, it has really been something that we can all take with us. And I tell you, just, keep up the good work and all that you do. And to our listening and viewing audience, thank you once again. And may God continue to bless you as you continue to bless others.
It's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. And we wish you well. You have been a blessing to so many, and continue in that which you have started. And to our viewing and listening audience, we look forward to hearing and seeing you again on our show next week on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline, Indiana.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
Wow, I scored a touchdown when I found sports on NFB Newsline.
I enjoy reading TV guide listings on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind. We read NFB Newsline.
It's free. National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.
I have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day,
one man's dream of racial equity and harmony, unity, seeing people as people, created in the image of God, is central to the Christian message. Acts records, "From one man he made every nation of men." God did this so men would seek him. Celebrate the creation, celebrate the vision, and celebrate each other as God celebrates you.
with this faith, I will go out with you and transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. With this faith, we will be able to achieve this new day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing with the Negroes in the spiritual of all, free at last, thank God Almighty.